You can pull this little,
little
buzz off of you.
Am I allowed to mention psychedelics?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I was, I had an ex-girlfriend who was a wonderful hippie girl.
At times, we all feel lost and in search of something more. This is Cristina Dam, and this is Liberate the Podcast, a podcast designed to help inspire and guide you forward through everything spirituality, creativity, art, and just giving you a sense of empowerment so that you can be powerful, be magical, and be free. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Liberate the Podcast. Today, we're welcoming Carlton Totten, and he's an actor and also a spiritual guide. And we're going to be kind of discussing his journey and merging spirituality with creativity and acting, but really about the doors of connection. And he's going to provide some interesting, cool tools for you all to hopefully have a better, more empowered life, too. Within intimacy, all these different things that we're going to be talking about. So, welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited. Thank you.
So I sometimes have met the person that I do a podcast with beforehand, but I haven't met you yet. So I'm legitimately, let me hear about this little spiritual awakening and story and how you're merging those things and what you mean by the doors of connection.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been an actor in Los Angeles for 10 years.
Okay.
Originally from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay, Midwesterner.
Yep. And I had a spiritual kind of awakening 9 years ago.
Okay,
and
so a year after being in LA.
Pretty much, yeah. And
City of Angels does its deed again.
Yeah, LA will do that to you. And and I never realized that throughout my entire life, spirituality was really what I was looking for, spiritual liberation, and just the realization of self and truth. And it pairs very beautifully with acting. So in my various acting training and experience on different projects, I've learned that the process that the actor goes through is really a spiritual process. And it's a deeply personal process to show up vulnerably in front of another human being and to really connect, to really look into their soul and to really be empathetic and feel for another human being, and to experience what they're experiencing. Because, for instance, the Buddhists talk a lot about compassion. Yeah. And you can't have compassion unless you know the nature of suffering yourself. So in acting, it's very interesting. Like, we have to dive into the depths of our soul, and we have to experience our own suffering, our own darkness, and our own vulnerabilities and things that we hide from. That like your average person who doesn't do awareness practices or anything like that, we always try to shove it under the carpet and run away from it. But with acting, it's you have to face it. You have to face it, otherwise how can you display it and be it and embody it if you can't access it? Yeah, absolutely. And experiencing that is you're able to show up more confidently in your life. You have more charisma. You have an attraction about you. And not only that, it just makes you a better human being. Because I feel like in our society, with social media, with dating apps, with what's happening in the world right now, like we're just in the metaverse. We're the metaverse now. The metaverse, virtual reality. We're just not going to leave our homes, and it's just becoming more and more. There's just building more and more walls between us, and we're losing our social abilities to really communicate, to express ourselves, to express the truth. Well, even to connect to thyself, right? Yeah. You know, there's so much distraction and noise that people often are playing the eyes of looking at their self, watching their life, instead of in their observer position actually being inside of them, you know? And you know, what you're saying is and where does this world go in 10 years from now? And if we're so out here, not only are we not
connecting to anybody else. We're not even connecting to what we want.
Yeah.
You know, we're so programmed, we don't even know. There's so much, you know, I mean, even back in the 50s, you know, they did like Project Mockingbird and different types of brainwashing technology that was existing there. And me studying hypnotherapy and NLP and stuff like that, the power of suggestion that people can have. But now it's like to the 9th degree, so we don't even know if what we're thinking is our own thoughts anymore.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. That's a whole different subject. I believe the brain is a receiver of thought.
Yeah.
I don't think thought's produced in the brain. I think we're like antennas. And I think that that antenna, what kind of thought frequencies you pick up on, depends on the quality and the alignment of that antenna.
Yeah.
And there's certain things we can do, like such as like if you're having a wonderful day, everything just seems to be wonderful and wonderful things are happening and you think wonderful thoughts. Well, it's because your antenna is in a beautiful state, pretty much. So the quality of our thoughts is really dependent on the quality of this. And with acting, especially, we have to prepare to act. We can't just, I mean, some people can, and you can definitely learn to be quicker to just get up and start acting. But really the actor's process is to get in a state of deep relaxation. So relaxation is always the first thing we do. We sit in a chair and we just get in touch right now with our body, with tension. Because tension, our emotions are stored in the muscles of our body.
Yeah.
And when we release those muscles, there's a release that happens. And the beautiful thing about the relaxation technique that I learned from my great teacher, Sean Patrick Folster, who teaches in New York.
Okay.
He taught me a great methodology of how to, not only with relaxation, but combine it with the voice and the body. And with movement. So you're expressing through the body, so there's no disconnect between the voice, the emotions, and the body.
Oh, that's
it's
great.
All functioning as one unit. Because with actors, like you are your own instrument. So if there's something out of tune, the audience or even a teacher can pick up on it, and someone might not know what they're seeing, but a trained artist can really pinpoint, oh, they're shut down in their body, or oh, their voice isn't in the right register.
Yeah.
Some things, there's a split happening.
Yeah, same for like singing too. Like they have to relax, otherwise they're not going to get that bolted, like, you know, the tones are going to be off, their pitches are going to be different, you know. They have to, you know, they might be going and performing on this big concert, but they have to calm, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the centeredness in order to allow you to be.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's so. In the methodology that I come from, you begin at a state of being, which is very spiritual as well. And it's so basically the definition of being is doing no more or less than what you feel at any given moment. And the problem with our society is a lot of people don't know what they're feeling, or they're not used to expressing or even being aware of their feelings. And then you can go a step further into what do I want and what do I need? Yeah. So in my workshop, everyone's gonna get in touch with what they really want, what they really need, and what they really feel. And there's a certain kind of empowerment that happens when you can finally own up and take ownership of yes, I want this. Yes, I need this. Yes, I feel this. I allow this. I permit this. I accept this. This is what's happening. This is the truth. And and so
many people don't have a clear clarity of what it is that they even want and the things that they want. There's no really emotional charge behind it because they really don't want it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I like that you're coming to when you said that descriptor of what they really want and the truth, you know, like it's because there's so much facade that goes on.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And not only that, there's also some people have an interesting relationship with wanting, because in our society we're taught sometimes from religions as well that it's bad to desire, it's bad to want, it's selfish. Or even, you know, problematic parenting can teach you that wanting is a bad thing. So there are some people that never step up and take ownership of what they want and let the world know what they want. Yeah. If nobody knows what you want, a lot of our opportunities come through people.
Yeah.
So if we don't express ourselves fully, without shame.
Yeah. The person that screams the loudest gets the most.
That's an interesting,
No, but I mean, like, it's oftentimes the silent bird will never get the worm, right?
Yeah.
Or however these little like sayings and things like that. But it's, when you know what you want and you go after it and you say it and you express it and you're not afraid to ask, right? Because, we don't live on an island of one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
vulnerability is such a huge part of this. Fear. Like if I'm scared, just say you're scared,
Yeah.
Because there's a certain amount of macho-ness in our society where it's like, oh, I'm not scared. And it's like usually the people that are saying that are the most scared. And it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be unsure. One thing I've learned through my journey, especially spiritually, and was just how terrifying life actually is when your eyes are wide open, and how important faith actually is, faith and love and trust.
So let's backtrack a little bit. So 9 years ago.
Yeah. So
let me hear this, and then so we can get into this eyes wide open and having that faith. Let me pull this little.
Oh yeah,
little buzz off of you.
Am I allowed to mention psychedelics?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I was I had an ex-girlfriend who was a wonderful hippie girl, and she introduced me to psilocybin mushrooms.
Okay.
And I took mushrooms, and there was me before mushrooms, and there was me after mushrooms. And we did it in nature, and it was absolutely like breathtaking. I understood what love truly meant. I understood that the substance of this entire existence is love, fundamentally.
Yeah.
And I had tears rolling down my face. I had never had such a connection with nature before in my life. And I mean, the trees were like talking to me. It was amazing. Anyway, so
no, but I mean, people that have experiences, whether it's ayahuasca, peyote, mushrooms, like there's something that these very intelligent plants can unlock and allow us to see things that are always there that we haven't seen with our mind's eye, that connects this interconnected web.
Yeah, absolutely.
In ways that.
Yeah, so that was my first experience, and then I had, and then I was totally turned on to the spiritual path. After that, I dated.
Let's go back a little bit, because I want to hear, because some people, many people that are watching, maybe they've tried, and some people are like, maybe they haven't. But okay, so you're before. You said because there was a distinct you before and you after. So,
what was I like before?
Yeah. And then what were you thinking going into this situation?
Yeah. Well, I kind of had an attachment to being an actor, but an unhealthy attachment.
Okay.
So when acting wasn't going well, I wasn't going well. My identity was totally intertwined with being an actor and being identified with that. I didn't know who I was. And we're also a product of our parenting. We're a product of our society. We're a product of what people say you are.
Yeah.
So we get addicted to our self-image that people see. And then so we start decorating that self-image. And that self-image is a lie. It's not real. And so we live in a fantasy in our own minds of keeping that constructed. So I got depressed a lot. I had a lot of rage in me, because I was running away from my home, basically back home in Ohio. I was running away, and I didn't realize, and nobody does, how hard the journey in Los Angeles to be an actor actually is. And I realized that because I had a very religious upbringing, and from an early age, I've always been kind of a truth seeker without realizing it at the time. I questioned religion. I questioned constantly. And I just knew something, I didn't know what it was. I was just like, oh, it's aliens or something. I got out of the biblical way of looking at things, and I became more agnostic. But the problem with that, and the beauty of religion in a lot of ways, is it gives you something to have faith in, or something to have, it gives you something strong behind you. When you don't have anything anymore, you're kind of lost at sea, but sometimes you don't realize it. So basically, yeah, the mushrooms just totally dissolved everything superficial that I cared about, whether it was material things or whether it was just superficial desires that I had that like I thought I'll be happy when I achieved them. And I realized there's a deeper aspect to life, and that I was dead up until that point. I was never.
Wow.
I had realized that I had never really been alive. I've been walking around, but I've been sleepwalking through life. And at that moment, and it was interesting to go to a restaurant afterwards because everyone's just going about their day, like, and it's just like, and I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, don't people realize this? Like, we're in bliss, you know. This is like the Garden of Eden, and we don't realize it, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, so I've had several other experiences like that, both without psychedelics and with. There was an energy. I was part of the Oneness movement for a while.
Okay.
Oneness University, who was run by Sri Amma Bhagavan. And Bhagavan, they're in India, and I went to India. I did that whole journey too.
Wow.
So I learned like an energetic transfer of energy called Diksha. I got initiated to do different forms of that. Like Ram Dass became one of my first teachers as well, and
Beautiful.
yeah, and I just got addicted to just listening to and going to different spiritual teachers,
And absorbing.
absorbing everything I could, and and then most recently my journey has been with ayahuasca.
Okay.
And that's been totally an acceleration of everything. And not only that, I'm going to the Amazon next month. So
Beautiful.
for a month and a half.
For a month and a half.
I'll be with the Yawanawa tribe. The shaman, her name is Hushahu
Okay.
Yawanawa. And I was just totally mind blown by that experience with them. And
So you went once before?
it's been a journey. No, so certain shamans came here.
Okay.
And I got totally mind blown by the ceremonies that they gave, and so the plant medicines. I started realizing that a society without plant medicines is really. I think India used to be. They used to have something called soma, and I think that's where a lot of the things from India came from, like the deities and things like that. It's very, very psychedelic, and I think that societies that had that were better off because there was less of a priesthood caste and there was less of withholding knowledge. And there was more of like kind of a feminine kind of nurturing, like there's no middle person between you and the divine.
Yeah.
And there's a humility that it's not us, it's the plants. Here, and commune with spirit. This is your, and I think it's the fastest way. Like I think it can transform the world.
And if you go down some of the rabbit holes, which I'm sure you have, all the cultures, there's over 2,000 different types of species of plants that have DMT in it, widely diverse on every different continent.
Yeah.
And then if you follow some of the different rituals, like there's like people in Egypt would go into this one special room and they would be in there and they would drink something and and then like back in Egypt the cicadas are really like there, and this cicada plant has more actually ayahuasca or DMT than ayahuasca does.
Absolutely.
And so you have these and as you said, and you mentioned India and all the but there's every continent, every place had this. And then somehow it became not a tradition anymore. You know, even in North America we have peyote.
Yeah.
And it became just obsolete or.
Yeah. No, I think the ego became more of a thing. It just like I think before, because plant medicines they dissolve ego. For the most part, and they keep it. And the more you partake, just the healthier a more healthier ego you have. And if not, it's gone. But yeah, there's something that happened. I think the Roman Empire had a lot to do with that, and just desecrating shamanistic societies, pagan societies, Druidism, and. Yeah, it's absolutely a shame. But in ancient Greece, there was a mystery society, mystery school, different mystery schools, and there was something called the Eleusinian Mysteries.
Okay.
And what it was is they believed that it was a plant ceremony, like either with mushrooms or something like ayahuasca. But every citizen and slave were allowed, in the entire Greek world, they were allowed to go and partake in this at least once in their life. But they weren't told what it was, so it was a mystery. But they had an experience that you weren't considered a proper adult until in society, or a human being, until you've had this experience. And I think that these plant medicines, these ceremonies, should be initiations into adulthood for our society. Like,
that would,
for our leaders.
That would be great. I mean, yeah. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, there's different traditions and things that people do, and I'm sure in certain cultures they have that, certain tribes, it's initiation, But, it's just interesting, where would we be if that was, if we took different roads to evolving and growing up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's even like, not plant medicine based, but like, I backpacked through Europe and I met a whole bunch of Australians, and like their whole thing is you actually take 1 to 2 years off of school after high school. It's tradition across the whole country before you go to college and you travel.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's interesting, and it's like you would be looked at as weird if you went right on to university, right?
Yeah.
But here it's like, so there's these interesting ways, because I say, like, you're supposed to get life experience, go to explore a different country, like do something, and then you can go to university and study and decide what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And so it kind of like that, mixing that with, because I hardly know anyone that has had a bad experience opening up the doors to some of these plant medicines.
Let's backtrack a little bit to the Australian part. That's funny. I didn't know that about Australia, but I've always told people that, because I just knew that going to college right after high school, something was really wrong with that, and something needs to change. You don't know what you want yet. You're not even mature enough. Some people do. No, but most people, they waste parents' money, they waste scholarships, they waste so much money and time.
Yeah.
Because they want the college life, but they don't necessarily know what they want. And then by the time they're mature enough to really know what they want, they just wasted 4 years in school doing something they don't want to do.
You enjoying this so far? Did you forget to subscribe? Make sure to do so. Takes 2 seconds. Just press that little button, the red one. The one. Just press it, little like. All right, enjoy the rest of this content. And having all this debt that, or if they had their parents pay for it, their parents, wasted money,
Yeah, absolutely. And I agreed with that. I had no idea Australia did that. I said, go travel if you have the money for it, or work and get money, see the world, get cultured, it's such a tragedy. And I'm so glad that I actually skipped that part of my life. And I just had the wisdom to just go to pack my car right after high school and drive out to LA.
That's awesome.
And pursue my training with individual teachers out here, not in a formal school kind of setting.
Yeah, well, then you get
myself some debt.
And you probably, got even better training, because you skip out on all of the unnecessary stuff that you don't really need.
A lot of times you have to unlearn a lot of things. And even in my journey out here, I've had to unlearn. We're always unlearning. Actually, the journey is really not learning; it's unlearning.
It's peeling away the onion to your truth. It's like, where did all these shields and weird things come from? It's like, deep, 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 deep,
yeah,
deep.
Absolutely. And the plant medicines, they actually are teaching you how to unlearn as well. And that goes back to what you were saying, your last point about you don't know anyone that's had a bad experience. Yeah, in these plant ceremonies, you can go through bad experiences, or quote unquote bad. You can go through hell. My ceremonies have been just most of them have been hell. But you come out the other side with some kind of awareness, knowing that was really good for me. Something left me, and I might not know what it is. And we're experiencing things that we hide, this body, and I know it through acting too. This instrument does things to protect yourself from experience that the mind, the body, like views as bad.
Yeah. This was painful. This was painful. This is going to open my wound, so I'm going to avoid this.
Yeah, and actually, I've realized that a broken heart is an open heart, really, and you have to keep breaking it open because the heart has a tendency to close. And with acting too, we have to constantly open the heart. And plant medicines definitely accelerates that, as well as the preparations that we do for acting, which I'll be teaching in the workshop as well. So I'm basically combining everything I've ever learned throughout my journey, and I'm combining it. Like I'll bring my drum too, and like anybody who wants to bring instruments, they can. Basically, I'm making it like a ceremony, just without plant medicine.
Beautiful.
And I welcome plant medicines if you want. Beyond those too, like I have no rules about this class, but it's basically the whole your whole being is basically going to be realigned and tuned up so that it can beautifully express.
I love that.
And be an instrument for the divine to flow through you, and for your own heart to sing.
And in that, I know that you mentioned that giving a couple people maybe a little taste of that, a few tools that they could do. Is there like a shorter experience that we could have the audience participate in that would give just a taste of what that alignment's like?
Sure. Let me think about that real quick. Well, I should say too, with spirituality and with acting, or just in spirituality, there's kind of two ways to go in spirituality. There's a non-dualistic point of view, which is awareness-based and the witness. And then there's experience-based, which is your direct embodiment, your direct experience in the world of the senses.
Yeah.
And in acting, there's not really like that awareness. There is and there isn't, but like the goal is not to be detached from experience, but to be fully in the experience, so that you're getting out of the witness and you're getting fully into your instincts and impulses and this right now. And so in spiritual practice too, there's a non-duality kind of awareness that never changes. And so but there's a trap with that, because there can be kind of a disconnect between what you are in life. And what this is trying to do is marry the two. So you have both going on simultaneously. So it's important to have an awareness of what you feel. So even if you're going throughout your day and you start asking yourself, how do I feel? Like even right now, and you take the time to really sit, how do I feel? And you vocalize this and you're saying, I feel nervous. I feel a little tense in my shoulders. How do I feel? I feel sad about something. I don't know what it is, but how do I feel? I feel the need to perform, the need to be good. How do I feel that? I feel accepting. And so you continue that for a while, and then you might move on to, what do I want? I want to be happy. I want to feel complete. I want to do a good job. I want to inspire. I want to be inspired. I want to live the life of my dreams. I want to travel. I want to find a partner that's going to complete me. And then what do I need? I need to clean up my diet. I need to take more ownership of and responsibility of my time. And then so you go that direction. And then you might.
So it's what do I feel? What do I want? What do I need?
And so that gets you very in touch with the here and now what's happening for you right now, and that always changes and always fluctuates.
Okay.
And then, as an expression of truth, these is all things like if you don't have a partner that you can do, you can put someone in a chair, imaginary chair that you have issues with, and you can tell them the truth. You can tell them, you pissed me off, you hurt me. I'll never forgive you for what you did. How dare you treat me that way? And you put them in that chair, and you just all the truth that you've never been able to tell them in your life or something, and you let them have it. Yeah. And then you can switch it, and that beautiful woman that turns you on, that you've never told before that you're attracted to, and you can be like, you were just the sexiest woman I've ever seen in my life. I'm just every time I see you, I don't tell you this, but I'm just floored. I get nervous talking to you. And I just, I want to muster up the courage. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's a great exercise in learning how the emotions fluctuate and how different stimulus.
From a desire to a hurt to a desire, and you kind of bounce back and forth. So it's not like you're in the same like emotional state.
Yeah, and it can be a pet on the ground, like a pet from your childhood, and you can create. For me, it's a cat on the floor, and say, wow, like I miss you so much, and just learning how to express at least with yourself, with nobody around.
Yeah.
At least you get used to expressing your truth and vocalizing it, and then you also see how the voice there, like you can see, like is your voice shut down? Is it not in the deepest register it can be? Because when we go up here, it's just it cuts down,
and our breath is really short, and our
tricks, and then and these things that come up when we're doing these exercises are actually problems and blocks in our life. So if I can't put my imaginary person in a chair, let's say I have sexual issues, and like I'm not confident in my sexuality. I'm not confident in the expression of that. And I can't do it with an imaginary person in a chair.
Yeah. That's
something really serious in your life that's keeping you back from partnerships or sexual experiences or things that could be really mind-blowingly special,
Yeah, all of the blocks and all that, and you're having that be expressed, which is so much of people, they keep it bottled in, right? They don't ever, there's like a milder version of that is writing a letter to somebody, right? And saying all the things that you want to say. But I like this, like you're visualizing, you're seeing, you're speaking out of your mouth, you're saying things,
Yeah.
So it kind of takes that letter to the next level and allows for the release, because oftentimes it's just about being heard. It's also just about getting in touch with your truth. It's not about whether the person receives it or not,
Absolutely.
In fact, most of it isn't, most of the time when you're communicating, it's...
And listening too, it's important. So not only to express, but to be able to be impacted and affected. So this is where partner work comes in. And it might be vulnerable, intimate sharing. Something, you would only tell someone close to you, but to a stranger, you might reveal to them as long as it's not too personal. Or you might do exercises like there's a beautiful exercise called Wonder, Perceive, and Observe.
Okay.
And so, like, I might sit with you and I say, I wonder what you're thinking about right now. I wonder what your life outside of this is like. I wonder what you had to eat this morning, or if you even ate. I perceive that, and then so perception is a deeper seeing. So I perceive that you're just a happy person, like you're content in your life. You're doing what you love to do. I perceive that I observe that you that hit, that resonated for you. Yeah. I observe you have a beautiful smile.
Aww.
And
talk about connecting with somebody too.
Yeah,
it's like this is like you feel like you really get to know, like, or you feel that you're really seen,
Yeah, and so these two people are doing this simultaneously, and what happens is the bullshit of connection at first goes away. So like in our society, there's the weather's nice, you know.
Yeah,
Just,
like, how are you? Good, yeah.
And yeah. So what this does is the beauty about this workshop is it's kind of killing a lot of birds with one stone. Basically, is you get through the superficial connection into the deeper connection. Everything becomes easier. And so, like, if in a big city, we're so lonely almost all the time. Like, this is a weird thing. We're surrounded by people, but we're so lonely. And it's because we don't really know how to speak to another person, how to get past or to open up to another person, or to even pierce through the veils of another person where you can see, like, I see you. And it's like, wow, like something's different about this. I've never really been seen before. I've never really been heard. There's something different in the way that you are with me that other people aren't. And so I'm able to open up because you're standing in your truth and expressing your truth and expressing the want and the need and the feeling of wanting my truth to come out so we can meet in truth. And there's a lot of truths here. And so basically these exercises, it's great. If you're looking for a partner, this workshop's perfect. You know, like, so because you never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to be paired with. And it's just when you meet in that kind of connection, it's just easier to have possibilities for anything, new friendships, partners.
Well, it's like years of superficial in like a few hours. I mean, how impactful in those connections. It's kind of like when people do like team building exercises and things like that, or you go and you do these adventures with somebody, and like in that little bit of time, because it's real.
Yeah.
The connections become tenfold. You know, like some people have these memories of like, oh, you know, they shared this or they went on this trip with these people, and like that experience these became some of their best friends, even though like they might have known people for 10, 20 years, but they never got to that deepness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sometimes too, and this happens a lot with plant medicines, is you really start seeing a person beyond your concepts of them. So like sometimes we only see our parents. It's happened a lot with my parents. Like I always saw them as their roles, mom, dad. And then I have images and history and things. So I'm only relating to the history that I have with them. And that's not really relating to the reality. That's relating to my memory of what I'm seeing. So when I started seeing my parents as almost complete strangers, like as though I'm seeing them for the first time, I saw a reality of them that's completely different than the reality that my mind made up about them and has constructed over a lifetime. And when you see a human being as they are, it's really like it can be very terrifying, but it can also be very beautiful. Because it shows us how much our minds are creating an artificial reality that's not real.
Or it's real for a sliver, but it's not real of the whole.
Yeah. And the beauty about these exercises too is you might have a judgment about a person, or you might feel something about, or you might be, you know, kind of distancing yourself because you have these ideas about a person before you even know them. We do it all the time. And as you get deeper, you're like, actually, you're different than I thought you were going to be like. And we have these experiences in life all the time when you get to know a person deeper. You're like, you know, at first, like, this person was not, like, they rubbed me the wrong way, but they're actually my best friend now. Yeah. You know, or it happens in dating life, which is why I hate dating apps, is when you get to know a person deeper, you start getting turned on about them and attracted to them. And they might not have fit your concept of what you're attracted to or your type. And all of a sudden you're like,
so you might have swept life or whatever which way it is that's no, and not even giving somebody a chance. Yeah. And that could have been somebody that had a really deep connection. Yeah, and you'll never know. So basically what I'm providing is a space for people to just get real with each other. And get real with ourselves. And then there's going to be, of course, meditational practices in there because you want that equanimous equilibrium still. And you want to be able to silence the noise. So you're not just being thrown around by experience all the time. You want to be able to come back home. I love that.
Yeah, and through breath, and breath work's powerful. There's going to be breath. There's going to be dancing and getting in touch with our bodies and expressing through the body. Because even dance, like throughout our history, human beings have been singing, they've been dancing, they've been telling story, and they've been sharing. That's what we've been doing throughout all of history. And so it's getting back to our roots and getting back to that, what's really important.
Yeah, I love it. So I hope that you are going to be doing more than one. So,
hopefully, yeah.
So depending on when people have watched this, if you're watching this, and I believe it's December 6th, right? As yours.
From 6 to 9 p.m.
Yep. And, so if you're seeing this before, then sign up, come. I think that everybody hearing this, everybody needs this to get in touch with your truth. That's what we're all here. And if this workshop and different experiences can allow for you to walk away more aligned in your truth, that's one of the most valuable things that you can take away to continue to create your life, right? And so hopefully we have it a few more times too. But in addition to the classes that we'll have here at Liberate Yourself, where else can people find you?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Carlton15. Okay. Just the @ sign, not the actual word. And then, if you can find me anywhere on Facebook, you just type in Carlton Totten, and I come up, Totten.
We'll put all the links and things down here, but if you're listening in audio on Audible or, not Audible, any of the podcast audio.
Yeah, I started an Instagram specifically for the workshop called, it's the_doors_of connection. And so I'm starting to post more on that too, so that it's different than my personal account. So follow me on either one of those. I should also credit my various teachers. A lot of the exercises derived from several of them. Eric Morris, who both Sean Patrick Folster, my current teacher, he and I studied with at the time, at a previous time in our lives. Anthony Meindl was incredible. Ivana Chubbuck, and various spiritual teachers like Ram Dass or Adyashanti and Alan Watts and
Alan Watts
and
love it.
Yeah, Sri Bhagwan. Yeah, Ramana Maharshi, all of them. I've just learned so many incredible things from all these teachers, and combining them all through this workshop has been a gift.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It was a great time.
Till next time, everybody, please like, share, subscribe, all those good things. Thumbs up, a comment. They all help so more people can find us. And thank you so much. Until next time. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this conversation, please like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want to hear more about what we have going on and happening online or in the neighborhood, check out liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Also, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Liberate Yourself. It's YouRself, URSELF. Until next time, be powerful, be magical, and be free.